Today, every organization wants to use AI to ask questions, generate reports, and support better decisions. The expectation is simple. We want to talk to our data in natural language and get reliable answers. But there is a critical reality that is often overlooked. The real business truth does not live in corporate documents only. In most cases, and through the years, it is accumulated and lives in structured enterprise systems. ERP, CRM, data warehouses, and operational platforms hold the data that actually drives company decisions today. And this is where the real challenge begins. Because using AI on top of structured relational data is fundamentally different from working with documents. These schemas are known to be complex to understand by non-technical humans first, and then by AI. Only database owners and programmers know how to dig through this data today, so AI would struggle with their knowledge as well.
So what is the natural first approach most organizations take when they try to implement systems that talk to their structured data? How can we quickly connect AI to our data today? We use RAG for database schema context. We use LLMs to generate SQL query from that context right away. Then we ask questions. And we expect the model to generate the right queries and answers. And to be fair, this works, in demos only, with simple data. But when we move into real enterprise environments, things start to break. Schemas are complex in enterprise systems. Relationships are not obvious. Table and columns names know to be cryptic, started as something else, and today mean totally different that only database programmer knows what. Business logic is implicit. The result? SQL queries generated by AI that, with great chance, can have wrong joins, missing filters, inconsistent outputs. The problem is not that AI does not work. The problem is expecting it to work reliably on complex business data without the right structure, right knowledge about the business, and how does it operate with structured data in various systems they have. To understand why this happens, we need to look at the real problem. There is a fundamental gap between how business thinks and how data is stored. Business users ask questions in terms of customers, revenue, risk, and performance. But systems store data as tables, columns, keys, and relationships. These structures are technical. They are normalized, optimized for storage size, performance for retrieval, and often evolved over many years. They do not directly express business meaning if you are not familiar with the development process and evolution they took. So the challenge is not generating SQL syntax. The challenge is understanding what the business question actually means and how that meaning maps to the underlying data. This is where most AI systems fail. Not because SQL is hard, but because meaning is missing from the interface the model receives. So if the problem is missing meaning, the solution is not better prompts or models. It is better architecture. We need a layer that connects business understanding with data implementation. At the top, we have business concepts: customers, products, risk, metrics, and relationships. At the bottom, we have data systems: tables, schemas, and technical structures. And in the middle, we introduce a knowledge graph. It defines business concepts through ontology, describes data structures and their relationships, and explicitly maps business meaning to data implementation. This allows AI to move from guessing to guided reasoning. Instead of jumping directly from question to SQL, we first understand the question, map it to business concepts, and then guide data retrieval in a controlled way. This is the foundation for reliable AI over enterprise data. Let's make this more concrete with a practical example. In one of our solutions for healthcare insights extraction and reporting, we worked with structured data sources having data around questionnaires, surveys, reports, clinical trials, and drug data. The key was not to query everything directly. The first step was to understand the question. So, we decomposed the question, identified intent, extracted filters and metrics, and mapped business language to entities and synonyms. The second step was mapping what we extracted as business concepts and entities to data. We explored relationships that lead to actual data implementation and built focused subgraphs within our knowledge graph. These subgraphs allowed us to guide query generation in a precise way, limiting only to those concepts, entities, to tables, columns, and relationships that are required to answer the question. This grounds the LLM and significantly lower the possible LLM hallucinations. We iterated ontology and mappings and generated SQL queries based on this structured understanding. Finally, we executed AI in a guided manner. With structured planning and controlled retrieval, we have predictable answers. This approach transforms AI from trial and error into a reliable, accurate, and consistent system.
So what does this mean for your organization? Your data already has the answers. The real question is how to access them correctly with natural language and your AI assistant. Moving from assumptions to controlled outcomes requires more than connecting AI to your systems. It requires designing the right path. Starting with understanding, then building the semantic bridge between business and data, and only then enabling AI to retrieve and reason over that data. This is where we help organizations, not by starting with tools or models, but by designing the architecture that makes AI reliable from the beginning. If you are planning to use AI on top of your enterprise data, the next step is simple. Start with clarity, then build your first use case the right way.